And just one for me again. Cameras. And just one more for me just here. Fantastic. Yeah. And just one for me again.
In the high-stakes, multi-billion-dollar world of professional sports, there are two very different ways to show real leverage. The first is loud and confrontational, raising your voice across a polished conference table, pointing to TV ratings, jersey sales, and social media numbers as proof of your value. It's aggressive. It's public. It's desperate to be heard. The second way is far more powerful and far more unsettling to ownership groups. It's silence. When a true superstar has undeniable leverage, she doesn't need to issue dramatic statements or threaten walkouts. She doesn't have to fight for attention. Instead, she steps beyond the boundaries of the league itself. She aligns with global brands, enters entirely different arenas of influence, and quietly reminds everyone that her value extends well beyond the contract that technically binds her. Right now, the WNBA is facing serious uncertainty amid labor negotiations, with tensions high and the future of the 2026 season under heavy discussion. But while executives and union leaders debate percentages and policy, the most recognizable figure in women's basketball isn't in a boardroom. Caitlin Clark is sitting front row at Prada Fashion Week in Milan, surrounded by global fashion figures, cameras flashing, influence expanding. No speeches, no ultimatums, just presence. And that presence speaks volumes. To understand the contrast, look at the broader landscape. Veteran players within the union are pushing hard for a larger share of league revenue and stronger guarantees, housing support, improved minimum salaries, long-term security. For many of them, the league is their primary financial engine and professional platform. Their fight is deeply personal and undeniably significant. But Clark operates from a different position. Through endorsements, national visibility, and cross-industry partnerships, she has built a brand ecosystem that doesn't rely solely on a WNBA paycheck. That independence changes the psychological balance of power. When a player can thrive inside the league or outside of it, her leverage becomes structural, not emotional. Her appearance in Milan isn't just a fashion moment. It's a statement about scale. It highlights the widening gap between individual star power and institutional dependence. While some players are negotiating from necessity, Clark negotiates from optionality. And in high-level business, optionality is power.
Caitlin is chilling right now, bruh. She definitely is. She do not have a care in the world, bruh, about what is going on in the WNBA.
She appears completely unbothered by the turbulence surrounding the WNBA right now, and that perception alone shifts the power dynamic. While negotiations unfold and uncertainty hovers over the 2026 season, Caitlin Clark is expanding her footprint far beyond the hardwood. She's aligning with global fashion houses like Prada, maintaining a landmark signature deal with Nike, and partnering with powerhouse brands such as Gatorade and State Farm. At this stage, she's operating less like a traditional athlete dependent on league checks and more like a diversified global brand. If the league were to face a shutdown or a delayed season, many players would feel immediate financial strain. Clark, however, has built multiple revenue streams that extend well beyond a base salary. Commercial shoots, national campaigns, international appearances. Her brand engine continues running regardless of the league calendar. Her presence at a Prada show in Italy during a pivotal stretch of labor discussions sends a subtle but unmistakable signal. It reflects scale. It reflects independence. And it underscores how much commercial gravity she brings to the sport. From the league's perspective, her impact is measurable. Sold-out arenas, surging TV ratings, record merchandise demand, and a historic $2.2 billion media rights agreement. Star power like that reshapes negotiations, whether openly acknowledged or not. At the same time, tensions within the Players Association revolve around revenue sharing, benefits, and long-term financial security, issues that matter deeply to the broader player base. But Clark's unique economic position inevitably changes the psychological balance. When one athlete drives an outsized portion of attention and revenue, leverage becomes concentrated. Ownership groups understand that the global audience is eager to see her sophomore season. Networks want games. Sponsors want exposure. That reality adds pressure to every side of the table. Now, According to reporting from ESPN journalist Alexa Philippou, ownership has delivered a firm timeline and a hardline stance in negotiations, raising the stakes for the 2026 season and signaling that compromise may not come easily. What happens next will reveal whether star-driven economics or collective leverage ultimately shapes the league's future.
Malik, I guess you could call it a deadline of sorts. The players were told in that meeting yesterday that if a term sheet is not completed by March 10th, then the most likely outcome is that the season will be impacted.
If a term sheet isn't finalized by March 10th, the 2026 season faces serious disruption. This is not a casual suggestion, nor a soft deadline meant to encourage negotiation. It is a hard, non-negotiable corporate ultimatum. The owners are sending a clear message. If the players' union does not abandon their unrealistic demands for inflated gross revenue shares and unsustainable salary cap increases within the next 2 weeks, the billionaire ownership class will begin taking extreme measures. They will cancel games, lock facilities, halt health insurance payments, bring the unprecedented momentum of the Caitlin Clark era to a complete standstill. And they will publicly place the blame squarely on the union for derailing the season. To truly understand the calculated ruthlessness of the March 10th deadline, you need to see how this situation was engineered. It wasn't a coincidence or a reaction to the calendar. Over the past 2 months, the owners meticulously built this exact pressure scenario. In late December, the players' union submitted a detailed, ambitious proposal outlining their demands for the new collective bargaining agreement. The owners' response was surgical, methodical, and unforgiving. They structured the situation so that the union is now trapped in a mathematical corner, forced to choose between immediate compromise or the real risk of seeing the entire season and their livelihoods collapse.
Me today that this was not taken well by the players when they heard this, that especially after the league took 6 weeks to respond to a union proposal at the beginning of the year, it just did not go over well, and that the players see this as an attempt for the league to pressure them into taking a deal.
The league deliberately waited 6 full weeks before responding to the union's proposal. Let that sink in. The sheer, calculated corporate disrespect. The owners received the union's demands in late December and intentionally filed them away, completely ignoring them for a month and a half. They ghosted the players' union entirely. This wasn't oversight. It wasn't bureaucracy run amok. This was a meticulously planned, highly aggressive psychological tactic in high-stakes corporate negotiations. In this game, whoever controls the timeline controls the leverage. The owners knew the union intended to stretch the talks for months, betting that the fear of losing the Caitlin Clark season would eventually force a concession. Instead, the owners flipped the script.